Hello and welcome back to PTMTR, where today we're going to be making some amazing brioche burger buns. This recipe starts by mixing exactly 360 grams of whisked eggs, 150 grams of lukewarm whole milk, 80 grams of sugar and 8 grams of dry active yeast. Just mix everything through until everything is evenly dispersed and consistent and the yeast begins to activate. I'd suggest leaving it out to do its thing for about 10 minutes before using it further. After which, we're going to be taking this show to a handy stand mixer. So pour in your now activated wet mix, and then we're going to add in, very importantly, 1 tablespoon at a time, 350 grams of bread flour with a paddle attachment whilst it's still mostly liquid. Seriously, avoid the temptation of banging it all in at once. This will end up in a nightmarishly clumpy batter. So go on a medium setting and go until roughly half your flour has hydrated into the mix. That's when you want to add in your 10 grams of finely ground sea salt, or if you're using table salt, just use 6 grams of that. Then switch out the paddle for a kneading hook and add the rest of the flour incrementally. Once you're done, throw in about 100 grams of unsalted butter at room temperature, again in tablespoons. And if the butter isn't playing ball, feel free to get in there with a spatula to help things along. Leave this on just over a medium speed for about 20 to 25 minutes to knead and help that gluten development along. After which, you'll want to grab a bowl and grease it down with some more butter, not oil. You don't want to impart any other flavors into this dough. Then transfer the dough into the bowl. This dough will be as sticky as anything. It's very elastic and it should have a rich yellowish color. Then just cover the whole affair with a greased bit of plastic wrap and let it rest at room temperature for a couple of hours. You'll see it sort of double in size, and then just pop it in the fridge for another 2 hours or until you're ready to work with it. I left mine in overnight. This just allows the dough to stiffen up and make it easier to work with. Now it is the next day and I'm making some ring molds for my brioche. Try using strong foil. This probably won't stand up too well with thinner, cheaper foils. Take about a 40 centimeter long bit and you want to sort of carefully fold it in half. Then the bottom half to 1/3 of it, then the top half to the bottom third of it. Basically fold it in thirds and then just repeat the whole process again. Continue this origami to the edge of your worktop where you want to crease the entire strip to give it a sort of natural curl. Then just measure it and mark it at the 32 centimeter mark. Snip off about an inch past the crease and then turn it into a ring, making sure the end of the foil is connected with the crease. Then just simply staple it together and you have this awesome DIY ring mold. Or you can just buy some 10 centimeter diameter ones, whichever is easier. Anyway, my dough's now done resting in the fridge. I'm weighing out exactly 80 grams per ball using a pair of scissors, which, side note, is oddly satisfying. Keeping them covered with your greased plastic wrap whilst you set your rings on some parchment paper and grease it all down. If you have oil spray, it's probably much easier, but I'm going to have to do this manually. Make sure you're greasing the rings too. Then we're going to form out some balls. So lightly flour your work surface and cup your hand around the ball and make little circle motions with your palm. You'll see it forming into a little ball. Then, making sure that it is floured or else it'll stick to your finger like stink on tuck the ball into itself to stretch out the surface. Pinch the ball at the bottom, essentially sealing it off, and then just plop it into your ring mold. Then, using the bottom of a bowl, push down onto the dough to encourage it to take some shape. Then just cover it again in that same greased cling film. See, we recycle here, saving the big blue marble one greased bit of plastic at a time. Anyway, let it proof at room temperature for another 2 hours or until you see it double in size before gently brushing on your egg wash. I'm using a single egg with a tablespoon of milk mixed in, and now that it's nice and glossy, it's time to add your toppings, if you so choose to add some. I'm going in with some classic sesame seeds and maybe try some mustard seeds because gourmet. Then just stick it into a 175 degrees Celsius preheated oven in the middle shelf. Then on the lower shelf, in an oven dish, you want to put some hot water in. This is going to create some steam and humidity that will not only allow the buns to puff up beautifully, but also keep them wonderfully moist. I hate that word. Leave that water in for exactly 6 minutes and then remove them and continue baking the brioche for a further 9 minutes. So all in all, the buns will be baking for about 15 minutes. As you can see here, they result in the most amazing, springy, golden brown, rich, buttery brioche. I love these so much. They go perfectly as any burger bun. If you do want to keep these nice and soft and moist and have a softer crust, pop them in a freezer bag while it's still warm, and the steam will sort of help everything stay soft. I've always avoided brioche because I've always found it very intimidating, but I'm glad I did it and it turned out amazing. I hope you guys try this out too. Please make sure you do like, follow and subscribe down below. Happy cooking.